Alright guys, Dokkan time, and let me first just say yes, you can build these both full dodge. Please don't click away, let me explain. This is going to be a how to build video for both of the TEQ Cell and the Great Saiyaman 2 here. I decided to combine these two because I did not want to bother giving them their own sole videos. Both of these are free-to-play units. They are free-to-play, they have free-to-play defense, they have free-to-play damage, they have free-to-play teams, they have free-to-play kits, and that is how you should treat them, as free-to-play units. Please do not think that these units are going to get you through a blue zone supreme magnificent battle. Please do not think these are going to get you through a red zone. Please do not think that these are crazy, amazing units. Use them for their categories, for their character bonuses, for their kits and what they can do. Do not use a unit for what they cannot be used for. Use them for what they're good at, not what you want to use them for. There is a difference. So, with that being said, we'll start with Cell. We shall start with Cell. As far as his 200% leaders go, he's got quite a few options. Personally, I would say your best bet as far as like an overall usage of the unit, you know, Zamasu, 17s, Gammas, Android 21, even Majin Buu. All of these can be semi-usable. If we ever get an EZA for the AGL first form cell, that would be the perfect match for this guy, and I would honestly, and I might, consider revisiting this unit if this guy gets an EZA. If this guy gets an EZA, we might be cooking something with this TEQ Cell. So let's just go into his kit and let me explain. He massively raises attack and defense. It's 100% boost to attack and defense. Attack and defense plus 200%. Extreme class allies key plus 3 attack and defense plus 30% plus an additional attack and defense plus 10% for characters who also belong to the artificial life forms or tournament participants category. Plus an additional attack and defense 100% when attacking if there's a super class enemy, and super class enemies attack minus 20%, defense minus 60%, which is crazy. Reduces damage received by 30% when facing one enemy, and launches an additional super when facing 2 or more enemies. That is actually a pretty decent kit when you consider Ultimate Clash / Battlefield, Super Battle Road, Extreme Super Battle Road, and many other event-esque type things that are not necessarily challenging or hard content, but they are unique content that you can take advantage of kits like this. This right here is something I feel we can utilize in a lot of areas of content of the game, and it's actually the sole reason, really, it's the sole reason, along with the support for extreme class allies, on why I do actually suggest EZAing this cell and why he is worth your time. But at the same time, I do not suggest going like a full dodge build. Yes, you can do a full dodge build. I just do not see any reason why you would take him into difficult content. Now, compliments of Halvard here. This is with Big Bad Bosses, Nightmare Shattering Limit, and linked with EZA Teq Cell. There's a lot of support going off just for one unit. Very unlikely scenario, so do keep that in mind. With 40% support, when getting triple super, yes, he can hit up to the 1.8 million defense. Just keep in mind, he doesn't have guard, he doesn't have damage reduction, he has nothing else to cushion that. So basically anything above a 2.3, 2.4 million super, you're dead. Game over. GG's, bro. Now, if you have type advantage, that's a different story, obviously. And that's if you triple super. I would say the average defense you will have versus a super class enemy is going to be around the 1 million defense margin, and that's if you have a double dupe. If you have a rainbow with all of this and all of that, then yeah, 1.2 is what you're looking at on a double super. So I mean, it is something to keep in mind. I do feel like it's very unlikely that you will have consistent defense with him. The one thing I will say is, like, this is the reason why, because this launch additional super when fighting 2 or more enemies. When you're locked in with 2 or more enemies, the likelihood of having that defense is very minuscule. Your average defense will only be around 800k. That is it. You will not probably really eclipse 800k. You got to be fighting more than 2 enemies. That's just kind of how it's going to be. And I say that because that's the only way it guarantees he double supers is when he's fighting 2 or more. Otherwise, you're relying on the hidden potential system, and it's just not very reliable. So, as far as like all of his link partners go, obviously other cells are going to be better. If we get an EZA for this first form cell, you know, that's where we're really going to be seeing a big change and difference of this unit, and where I can see in the future that you could utilize this unit. Funny. Messenger from the future unit. Anyways, so that is my take on him. Probably just go for crit for right now. Though I wouldn't blame you if you flipped this around and gave him more towards the additional route rather than the crit route. I still, at the end of the day, view this unit as a free-to-play unit, and I really would not suggest taking him into difficult content. Just take him into category boosting. Take him into Super Battle Road, Ultimate Clash. That's where I would suggest it. But he is a free-to-play unit, so, you know, maybe hold off on using the hidden potential until you find an event or a team in the future that you could use him on. I don't know. When it comes down to these units that are basically worthless in challenging the hardest content in the game, you really just want to kind of throw whatever at them. In this case, you're only going to see them in the fights for a couple minutes in easier based content. So just giving them crit, have them do the damage, get out, and that's just the basis, the way to go, in my personal opinion of that. So, and they both of these units don't have crit. Neither of these units have crit built in, so that is why the crit is there. But they both have additional built in, which is why I only put a level 9 for the additional, and it's not very high. You could go up higher with the gold equipment. Just remember my hidden potential to the side over here, to the side, when it says level 17, that's how much you can get out of the hidden potential nodes themselves, not including the equipment that's suggested below. So, now with Gohan here, Gohan does have the opportunity to be on a top tier team. That top tier team being Special Pose. Special Pose is a very top tier team. I do not suggest putting him with Hybrid Saiyan's Ultimate Gohan. I don't suggest putting him on a Majin Buu saga because his kit diverses him from it. So he does greatly raise attack and defense, and he lowers the enemy's attack and defense. Key plus 3 attack and defense 180 plus additional attack plus 20% with each attack performed to 58%. Super class allies key plus 3 attack and defense plus 30% plus additional attack and defense plus 10% for characters who also belong to Defenders of Justice or Tournament Participants category. Plus additional attack and defense plus 58% when there's an extreme class enemy. And then extreme class enemies attack minus 20% and defense minus 58%. And then launches an additional super attack when facing only one enemy. And then guards all attacks when facing 2 or more enemies. Now if you didn't notice, both Cell and this guy are built pretty similarly. And this is another case scenario where I'm like, yeah, I would potentially say that this guy might be worth EZAing. I find him less useful because super class teams have more options. Extreme class teams, however, have very few options. So Cell, in my opinion, has more priority over EZAing than this Gohan, even though they have similar kits. It's just the difference between super class and extreme class teams needing support and more help in the content of the game. So, as far as like his teams and his characters go, he has very few linking partners. You know, like you can link him up with High School Gohan, obviously, and all these other teams, and that's perfectly fine. It does work. You will see him okay-ish, not amazing, but okay-ish. I would say you throwing this Gohan onto a Special Pose team where he's getting supported by LR Gammas, he's getting supported by LR Ginyu, he's getting supported by Pride Troopers, he's got slot 1 tankage usages for freaking Topo. You know, on a Special Pose team, he's just getting supported so hard and heavily that you're getting more buffs in general from all of those units, off-turn support and on-turn support, than you would just getting all of his links off and then having a little bit of support. So, you know, take that as you will, but yes, this unit does have a top tier team to be on, and you could see him cook a little bit. I would second guess that, though, when looking at his defense numbers, as they are just so low. And because they're so low, I have to say, this is part of the reason why I don't suggest the Gohan, because even when he's facing only one enemy, an extreme class enemy, his defense is so miserably low on a double super at 600k, 700k with support. That means even if I support this unit with Pride Troopers, get all the links off, get the Ginyu, get the Gamma support, I'm barely going to cook at 1 mil defense. And the fact that he has guard trapped behind fighting 2 enemies is what actually makes him not worth it, in my opinion, for challenging content or to EZA, really. I just find him replaceable in a majority of the content that he's available in the game, so I don't really see a reason to EZA him other than you just want to, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I think he can fit on a special pose team. You know, float him off, you know, and just let him be there to be there. But otherwise, he's very much a replaceable unit. Whereas Cell can find a home on very many teams, and he can support the damage reduction, and the fact that he does have a very high ceiling of defense in very select scenarios. I just feel like he has a better placement and usage. Now, obviously, he's not going to have crazy links or anything of the form with other units, because he mostly has Cell links. He's got Gentleman, Messenger from the Future, Nightmare, Ultimate Life Form. The links that you're going to see him getting off with a normal set of teams is Big Bad Bosses, Shocking Speed, and Shattering Limit, which is fine, because primarily that's what we kind of want to see, is the Big Bad Bosses link. So that's what you really want to focus on. But anyways, guys, I think that's going to be it for the video. This is just my suggestion, because these are free-to-play-esque units. I don't think that they are usable outside of Ultimate Clash, Super Battle Road, Extreme Super Battle-esque content. I think they're primarily free-to-play units, and I don't think you should look at them otherwise. I don't think you should be looking at this Cell or Gohan as in you can take them into hard content. No, I think you should look at these guys as units that can lower the enemy's attack by 20% and defense automatically just for being on the field. I think you should abuse this specifically. Abuse this if you're going to use them, and think about the content that you need or want to do with them. So anyways, guys, let me know how you're going to build these units. Are you just going to go say, screw it, you know, full dodge, I'm not going to use them anyways? Or are you actually going to give them some crit, you know, take them into content they're actually going to excel at, and just, you know, let them cook the very little amount of cooking that they can do. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good day and a good night.